And we are live. Hello and welcome to another review from the benefit of the Doud Podcast. And joining me is my fellow reviewer, Mr. Clifton Thomas. How you doing, Clifton?
Hello, doing. How do I don't even know how to answer that right now. A lot of things going on in my life, but you know what? At the moment,
Yeah,
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah.
yeah. And this is probably going to show up like accurately according to the timeline. But this is our first video back after being on hiatus. I am back in not Korea anymore, which is always nice. Some of the rest of my travel plans actually, I was supposed to be gone at the end of this month for a few days, but that actually got canceled or pushed back. So New York's going to have to wait for me just a little bit longer. But
New York
yeah,
waits for no one.
that's the rumor. So, but we're here to do some more reviews for you because that's kind of what we do here. That's how we roll here
Yeah.
on the benefit of the Doud Podcast. I'm fresh off of an appearance from Android Faithful, so there's going to be a link in the show notes to the Android Faithful podcast. Um, I haven't actually discussed with the folks in the Android Faithful podcast like how like subtle they want to be, but I'm too old for that crap, so I'm just going to tell you the Android Faithful is the continuation of the All About Android podcast, the unfortunately now defunct All About Android podcast, with Ron Richards and with Wei Dun Tao. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I am so sorry, Win. Uh, but anyway, Hui Tao. Anyway, so
You're not doing yourself
anyway,
any favors by trying again.
I am not doing anybody any favors. So Michelle Rahman is on there as well sometimes.
Yes.
So I was just on there to chat about some foldable devices, and it was a good show. So you should go check that out. I'm going to put a link to the episode that I'm on in the description. So go check that out and then subscribe to them because they're awesome and that's what you need to do. But that's not what we're here to do tonight, except to say welcome back, to us and to welcome our new subscribers from
Yeah.
that came over. We're assuming from the Android Faithful podcast. Uh, so it's great to have you here, and we're going to go ahead and jump in on the review. Now, this is not a typical technology review, but it is kind of a geeky review in more ways than one. So, should we bring on Skippy and introduce the fine folks to
Come
our
on over,
latest
Skippy.
thing?
Yeah.
Come on, Skippy. Skippy also was on the
Yeah.
Android Faithful podcast, which was fun. But yeah,
Skippy gets
so
around.
Skippy does get around. We're gonna have to talk about that actually afterwards. But so this is what we were here to see. I said it was geeky, and it is literally a geeky. Now, this is a device that came to my attention through the folks from Geekey that reached out and said, hey, you want to take a look at this? And I'm like, you know what? We do geeky stuff. Why not? And so this is one of those things that falls into the
Right.
everyday
Hmm.
carry category, which we have been known to do from time to time. And actually, our flashlight review is doing remarkably well on the channel. So thanks for that. But anyway, so this is a geeky, and the one thing that really caught my attention to this, it looks so small when I put
It
it down.
does.
Maybe I need to move the camera closer, but the one thing that came to my attention when they reached out about this is that this device, I guess we can call it a device, is TSA safe, which means you can travel with this.
Really, I did not know that.
And
Huh.
yeah, and like that was like one of the big reasons I wanted to see
Sure.
it because as it happened, I was going to be traveling. I want to say I've had this for a few months now. I know Cliff actually just got his a couple of weeks ago,
Yes. Yeah. It
right?
took a little
Yeah.
longer. I think there was like a shipping mishap or something. But
Right, yeah. The
yeah,
shipping company had to figure out where the hell your town is because
never
it's
misses an
it's
opportunity to bash my
no,
little town.
not not a single time. Um, but anyway, so this is like it's a multi-tool, but it's cool because it is TSA safe, and I can confirm that. I took this with me to New York. I took this with me to Korea. So it's not only TSA safe, it's customs safe as well. which is a
Right.
good.
And unlike a lot of multi tools, and I mean there are some, pocketable multi tools that are smaller, but there are no
Hmm.
moving parts with this. It's just one, I'm assuming,
Right.
cast piece, which is really nice
Yep.
and really not much larger than a large key.
Then a
Hence the
key.
name
Yeah.
Geekey, right?
Yeah. I mean, it is thicker. You can tell by
Right.
that.
Hmm.
This is. Do we need Mr. Caliper? I think we do.
Yes, we
Hello,
do.
Mr. Caliper. It's been a while, Mr. Caliper. I need to zero you out. But yeah, so this is just 5 millimeters thick, and it is. Why not? Let's do the whole. Let's do the length. Let's just measure stuff because that's what we like to do here.
It's the Measuring
Um,
Stuff
yeah,
podcast.
we're looking at about 69.5, 70 millimeters long, and yeah, so it's like a. So thank you, Mr. Caliper. You can go away now. Didn't we weren't we looking for a name for Mr. Caliper at one point?
Hmm.
I don't remember,
I think so.
but
I think we asked for, if you have and then we can just,
yeah,
just reiterate it here that,
comment
if you got
down
a
below.
comment down below if you've got a good name for Mr. Caliper.
I'm kind of feeling Kelvin, but like, I don't know. Maybe we're just playing too much
How about
on the
Dr.
Cal thing.
Dr. Caliper?
Dr. Caliper. It could be chicka 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 chicka.
Dr.
Aw.
Dr.
Anyway, so yeah, so we should probably get down into it, like as to what this thing actually has on it, and I could try to point out. I think Geeky says that there are like 29 different tools built into here.
Yes.
And the packaging actually has a very handy cheat sheet. So I'm going to show you that
That's exactly what
right
I was thinking
now.
about.
Yep.
Yes.
So let's just bam, there we go.
There you
So
go.
now this is the front of the packaging. And let's just kind of run this down here. So right now you're looking at the key like this. I mean, you can kind of see it. It's a little tiny down there in the corner over here. But okay, so on the packaging we've got a bowl, which we will definitely talk about a little bit. A wire stripper, a lanyard hole, and then there's imperial and metric closed wrench. What are those called? Like I guess wrench sockets basically, for like for
Oh,
driving a nut
right,
basically,
exactly. Hmm.
and it has all the different sizes on here. I'm not gonna about to read them all out for you. It has a spoke key slash wire bender. That's for bicycle spokes if you need to like adjust your spoke. It has a bottle opener and a 1/4 inch open wrench, and we're going to talk about that 1/4 inch open wrench a little bit too. We have a serrated edge here, which is, I mean, it's not terribly sharp. I mean, I can put a good deal of pressure on here, but I have used this to open a package or two and cut a little piece of
Maybe if you need
twine.
to, file down your contacts on something, it'd be good for that.
Right, and you know what? It also has a file
It
on the back of it
does.
here. So yeah, so it has a file, a serrated edge, and then this down here is kind of like a. I can get it a little bit closer to the camera if I don't knock the camera out of the way. But this here, it says it has a slotted screw and a Phillips head square and a square bit and like a combo driver, like a almost like a star bit. Now, what I can tell you about this is I have used this to unscrew things, but I have also used it on um, I, I don't remember what it was. I want to say maybe it was just like a normal like Allen key type situation where I basically just kind of shoved this thing in there as hard as I could,
As
and
one
I
does.
was able to use it to turn, and it worked. So there you go. It has a ruler on the side here for 1 inch, and then some metrics on the other side. And then, by the way, speaking of the other side, here's the other side of the packaging. We have a can opener. There's a file on here. The wire bender I already talked about. It has a scoring tip, which is basically just another way of saying this is a sharp thing you can open packages with. A wire stripper, a closed wrench, an open wrench, a multi-fit driver. It's got a bunch of stuff. I mean,
Actually,
basically,
I love the fact that it's got the scoring tip because that's something. If I'm ever mocking up packaging or something and I need to score something so that it
hmm
folds, then
yeah, Yeah.
Yeah, just I mean, again, I will never remember half of the things that this has on it. To be quite honest.
Right. Oh, I won't either. I won't either. Um, there is a protractor. I'm going to go ahead and bring this back up here. There is a protractor on here, which I'm trying to get the camera to focus. It doesn't want to, but like this area here is a protractor for like 90 degrees, and it has all the different degrees inside of it, and that's cool. Now, the one thing, there's a couple of things that I wanted to point out here, which are a little bit inconsistent with what the packaging says, and I just lost Cliff, so I'm just going to go ahead and keep on rolling with this. This here is a 1/4 inch driver, and this here, this notch here, is also supposed to be a 1/4 inch driver. Now I have another kind of a, this is kind of a multi-tool as well, but this one, it's not really a competitor. I'll put a link to the show notes of this one as well. This one's called like a snowflake multi-tool, basically. But this device's concentration is solely on like hex bolts and the like, not hex, Allen wrenches. So like this one doesn't have a whole lot of Allen wrenches. This one does. So they actually complement each other quite nicely. But this one has a 1/4 inch a 1/4 inch nut driver on there, and when you can see, like when I put that in there, it locks in. And hey, Cliff is back. So I've been carrying the show without you. No pressure. Let me just move you up to here. Bada bing, bada boom. So I was pointing out that this is supposed to be a 1/4 inch driver, and this is also supposed to be a 1/4 inch driver. So when I put a 1/4 inch driver in there, which is like this guy here, like you can tell that it's kind of locked in. But when I do the same thing over here, it kind of free spins. So it's not an exact science, folks. And like the kind of general rule is, if you're using a multi-tool like this, you're already kind of MacGyvering it a little bit. So you need to expect a little bit of play. Now, since this is not a terribly complicated multi-tool or terribly complicated device, we're going to cut this video a little bit short, but there's one more thing that I wanted to talk about. This thing here is, they call it a bowl, and it's a bowl, okay? They call this a pipe. You can tell if I tilt this up here, you can see there's a hole that goes down the entire length of this.
Wait a minute.
What? Into this bowl here. So in theory, you can put tobacco or, whatever.
Other fun products.
Into here, and then you can smoke it through this little thing here. So a little, something like that.
That's crazy. I did not see that, and I would not have thought about that.
Now, I don't know if Geekey knows how fire works, but if you're burning something here, and this whole thing is metal, which I can confirm it is, this end is going to get real hot real fast. So, and like, I don't know that there would be a good way to hold it while having something lit on fire here. So, like, I'm just going to go ahead and call this pipe thing a little bit extraneous. And I'm also going to salute the makers of the Geekey, because they clearly wanted this thing in there.
Yes,
and
they did.
God damn it, they put it in there.
I guess you could hold it if you hold it flat, like you were holding. Yeah, so if you hold it where your thumb is right now, basically.
Yeah.
Because
get out your other multi-tool.
Aha!
Aha! There we go.
Well, you're gonna get some strange looks when you're smoking your multi-tool. I am smoking my key.
Put that in your Geekey and smoke it, huh? But anyway,
I'm tempted to go find a cigarette and just break the tobacco out and just see if it works.
Just to see if it works. I mean, you can, and report back. That's what Doubting Thomas is for, after all. But anyway, yeah. So this is just, like I said, this is the Geekey. I always want to call it the Geek Key, to make sure to spell out those two separate words. But actually, on the packaging, you can tell it's actually just Geekey. So there is no separation in between the geek and the key. So when I say it like that, I am actually saying it wrong. This is the Geeky, and we are all geeky here on the Benefit of a Doubt podcast. So that's what I have to say about the Geeky. Cliff, do you have anything else that you want to add?
You know, this is one of those products for me that I'm gonna keep on my keychain, and
Mm-hmm.
I almost hope that I don't have to use it that much. You know what I mean? It's more of one of
Oh
those,
yeah.
like you said, in a pinch kind of. But I actually did use it I have been working on my studio. You can, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you've noticed that things look a little different around here.
Yeah.
And so I've used it to open some boxes
Mm-hmm.
and to screw some Phillips and screws. And so, yeah, for that
There
it
you
was
go.
very handy. So in a pinch, it's great to have, and it honestly doesn't take up much more room on my keychain than
Yeah.
your average key. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah. And it kind of makes me wish, like, I don't carry keys all that often. Like, I have car keys, but that's really the only reason I need to carry keys now. Hashtag smart home. So this
Right.
kind of makes me wish I still carried keys. But so where this lives in my world is just I leave it on my desk, and when I need to like open boxes and stuff, I can grab it. And it actually lives right next to this guy. And like I said, I think these two complement each other quite nicely. So yeah, I'll put a link to both of these in the show notes.
One is a key,
Um,
one is a shuriken.
it's a snowflake. It's a snowflake. Come on. Come
Oh,
on.
okay.
Yeah. So now you see. Now you see. But anyway, so yeah, there will be linked to both of these in the show notes, as well as the Android Faithful podcast. For no particular reason in this video, then it's our first one back since we did that. But for now, I think that is going to go ahead and do it for this episode of the podcast, for this review of the podcast. And I want to ask you to go ahead and please like and subscribe. You know where those buttons are. I'm not going to point them out to you. If you're listening to the podcast, if you find yourself listening to the podcast, not this episode, but another episode in your podcast player, please go ahead and leave a review for the podcast because that helps other people find us. But for now, I am just going to thank you for watching and for giving us the benefit of the Doud.